And we're live. Did you hear about the 13 or
Why was that your first
14-year-old
thought?
being tried as an adult for murder?
No,
So-
I didn't hear about that.
It in my mind, I'm interested in your opinions, is the exact kind of case where you don't try a child for murder. And they were on a highway overpass and they were dropping eggs onto cars as they went by. And I want to say he's 13, but he could possibly be 14. And someone died. And so he is responsible for the death of that person. But also, like, a 13 or 14-year-old dropping eggs is an idiot, and a tragedy happened.
Yeah.
But I don't think you try that person as an adult.
I agree.
See,
They don't have the perspective to understand
almost
the
feel like-
ramifications of what they're doing.
But a normal teenage kid eggs someone's house. He doesn't drop eggs onto windshields of cars because, like, there's no possible on a freeway. There's no possible like in game that would end positively. Like,
Yeah,
eat egg someone's house. Whatever. Fuck it. They're gonna have to like hose some fucking egg
You're
off the side of
applying
the house.
your fully developed cerebellum to this problem space. Not a 13. This 13-year-old is guilty of being an idiot.
Yeah.
When I
I
was
think-
like 8, my friend's mom who drove me and her son, my buddy, my best friend at the time in grade school, home from school in the minivan. They had like one of the early minivans that could actually roll down the windows. Or no, she had a Durango, purple Durango, and we'd roll those down. And she would give us pennies, and we would throw pennies at other cars, like either sitting still or driving. And even at the time, I'm maybe 7 or 8. I was like, "This is inappropriate." Like, if my dad or mom was in the car, like, no fucking way I would do that. So, even kids have a little, niggling little thought of,
Sure.
I know this is wrong, but they
Do
still
we have a
don't
picture of the
understand.
kid for no reason in particular?
I believe I could Google it. I think white suburban
Oh,
type
What's
kid.
the
Because
kid's
you're trying-
name?
Kid.
I just-
Jose
dropping
Alvarez.
I have a really hard
Was
time.
it Bryce?
Was that
with, like,
Josh?
There's no, the kids had zero thought as to what, like, I know kids make stupid like mistakes and have stupid thoughts, but like dropping an egg on a car over an overpass, no, it's not a cinder block, but like, that's gonna blind someone from being able to see their car. Like,
That
I feel like there's at least got to be a subtle thought in your head of like, I shouldn't be doing it in this context. Like,
don't have
I
a
would
picture of a
still
kid.
say-
They're not identifying them on the CNN article.
Yeah, I would still say don't
they're
put that
14.
kid in jail for 30 years
No.
or something,
no,
or whatever the
You
sentence
get,
would be.
like-
I don't know.
get like a couple, maybe like a year or two, a couple of years or something.
Or like a few years in juvie or something.
Right,
like,
exactly.
until he's 18 to really scare him straight.
Right. Get him on, or just might send him down the exact opposite path.
Maybe he meets a bunch of other egg huckers and
To make an egg gang.
becomes their king.
The egg lord.
Yeah,
I
I
think
never
this
did
was-
anything this bad, throwing eggs at moving cars on the freeway.
You know what I did
would-
that was almost as I've told it before, so just real quick. Someone else started the fire because we were playing war in this field. It had tall grass, like waist high, dry grass. And
Right.
he started on fire so that he could light a smoke bomb. The wind kept blowing out the match. He told me to put out the fire, and I didn't. Being an idiot, I put my hands together, I rubbed it, and I put it over the fire. And in the, like, I don't know, 15, 30 seconds that I was an asshole, it grew to beyond a stage where you could stomp it out or put it out with our coats. And about 5 acres burned. So, yeah, like there were 4 alarm fire departments from all over, like, were coming to work on it. And they managed to prevent any good houses from burning down. So that's good.
Only the good ones made it out, though.
Well, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. I mentioned that terrible one with the hole in the roof that we entered through.
Mm.
That was in the middle of the fire. So anyway, I don't know that my enjoy the fire come arson is that much smarter than the egg thrower. I guess it's a little less targeted at humans,
hmm
but in terms of decision making, same league.
Yeah, it's still bad decision making.
I
but
mean,
What
I
if
think
you-
that-
what if-
I think
what if
the
a-
difference is one of them's a bad decision, but one of them has intent. Like, if you're throwing eggs at cars, it's not just a bad decision. You also had like the intentions like thought of I want to go throw eggs at something. Like yours was a mistake. Yours was an accident. Yours was you just not having that like forethought or foresight. Whereas
Right.
the other one, like it's malicious and in intent. Like there's maliciousness at its
Well,
core.
okay. Is it possible that they're throwing eggs at cars without foresight, without like going for murder?
Yeah, of
No,
course.
Yeah, definitely.
I-
They definitely weren't trying to murder someone.
100%. I don't exactly. I don't think that
Yeah, it's manslaughter.
I don't think that the idea was to make someone crash their car. Like I agree that
Mhm.
like it was something that was taken too far, but I think that at its core, the intent is not.
Or negligent. Is it negligent
it's
homicide or
negligent.
manslaughter? It's one or the other.
I can't tell
Yeah.
the difference.
I
Those
had
are
a
so
friend
yeah, I don't know.
whose house we would stay over when we were young, and he had an N64, but his idea of like everything fun was to take one of those elastic water balloon shooters, and go up. There was a giant, like when you turned into his kind of not subdivision, but like a road, so they weren't going like 15 like in a subdivision. People would turn in and be going like 30, 35, like still like a lined road, but you could hide behind all these trees with this, and all he wanted to do was wait until nighttime and then shoot water balloons at the side of cars because it would make an enormous amount of noise when in the dark it hits and boom.
Boom.
Like it doesn't
Right.
cause any damage because
That
it's a
would
small thing,
scare
but it
someone.
would scare the shit out of people. And I was a kid, and at no point was I like, haha, we're gonna run them off the road. We were just
Yeah,
like,
right.
haha, they didn't expect a water balloon to make a loud noise. So I can understand that.
Now
Right.
that I think about it, I threw snowballs at cars when I lived in
Mhm.
New Jersey. Now, I
guess
moved
that's
out of New
true.
Jersey when I was 12, so I must have been like 9. And I don't know what I was thinking. Like the thought process I recall was, these are old people in cars. They can't catch young studs like me. You're fucking 9. You think Taylor can't
Right.
catch a 9-year-old? It's so easy. And we got caught every time.
The worst
I guess
kids
that's
were
also-
always the ones that realized that because they're a kid, you can't hit them, like
Right.
as someone
Oh.
else's parent. Isn't
So
that
they were smug about it.
Yeah, where they'd
That's
be or like
terrible.
kids when they realized that you couldn't get spanked in grade school, and that's like, oh, my parents won't hit me, and you can't either because it's against the rules, like that kind of shit. Although my principal did give quite a few kids a walloping with one of those
Right.
Your
those
principal
spanking
hit
paddles.
kids?
See,
Yeah,
I
in
went to
grade
a
school.
private school, so like they in grade school especially they basically allowed for like paddles and stuff to be used. Like that was a normal thing, is for the principal to bust out the paddle.
Dude, there were
Mhm.
no. Now, okay. So a kid transferred into our school where they were allowed to beat children with paddles, and he described an honor code where like people would cry because they got beat by the paddle, but no one would give them shit about it because it could be you or
Yeah.
there's like a sort of empathy, like, yeah, bro, I know paddling's that's a tough business.
100%.
Was that what it was like? Is like
100%. Like it there was definitely like a subtle honor code of like you would like it's almost like when your parents like if your parents were someone that used like belts or anything with you, like your mom would spank you
Belts.
and it would not be near as bad as like when your dad would spank you because your mom like just didn't have that same kind of like power. But you would always cry just the same, just because you're like, oh no, I gotta make my mom feel like she like actually spanked me. But it was like getting off like easy. The
I don't think your
principal had the
mom was a
same
very
thing.
good child beater.
No.
You need
Did
to
you
come
ever
on
make the
over.
mistake of like insulting mom in the middle of spanking? Because I did that once when I was like, and we were talking about like the body size percentages. Every time as a kid, I would go in, be like, all right, Taylor is 97th percent in height and actually 100% in weight. Like I was enormous as a kid throughout the whole
Right.
time. And oh fuck, I just lost my train of thought.
Your mother hit you, but you were large.
Oh
and
yes,
you would
yes,
try
thank
to-
you, Woody. Yeah. I was at my grandparents' house one time and I was hanging out. Me and my younger brother were doing something in the woods. We used to like take sticks and add string and like to get straight arrows and like shoot them at each other and stuff. And it was just sticks, and so I must have caught him somewhere that it hurt him or made him bleed or something. And I was getting in trouble for like, you should know better, Taylor. Like that, you shouldn't do this. And I remember I was in the bath taking a bath, nice relaxing bath in my grandparents' bubble bath, playing with toys or whatever. And like my mom came in after she had like Seeing what I did to my brother
got
on
over it.
accident, on total accident. And she's like, Taylor, you get out of there. I am giving you a spanking. And like I get out, like trying to put on the oh lordy lordy, like please don't.
How old are you
me.
at this point?
I'm maybe 10
Okay.
at this point. And so I get out and she spanks me. I get back in the tub, and before she had fully closed the door, I like was smugly playing with my like Lego ship float, and I was like, that didn't even hurt. and she opened it back up and was like, what? It didn't hurt? Oh, that's not good enough for you, is it, Taylor? And so then my dad had to spank me, and that hurt. That's the same bathroom that I got put in when I was even around that same age, maybe a little younger, for saying a bad word, and they didn't have liquid soap to put in my mouth, so they gave me a whole bar of new ivory, and out of spite, I ate the entire thing. So they came in, and I remember my mom, it was either my mom or my grandma. No, it was my mom, I think. She's like, and did you learn anything about saying bad words, Taylor? I was like, yeah, I ate all the soap. Does that give me a credit? Do I get some sort of
So I've got 30 more bad words built up. I've told this before, but I love it so much. I never soaped Hope. We used to, but my wife would give her the soap. And the first time ever, Hope is like 11 or something, and she's just shouting at my wife, right? Holding her ground, like nose to nose, yelling at Jackie. And Jackie, like, she's got to do something about this, right? You can't let your kid, like, just fucking bully you. So she puts liquid soap on her hand, and she reaches forward, and she, like, zaps it on her tongue, like, pow! And
snake.
But Hope was yelling the whole time, and a bubble came up and floated into the air. I'll never forget. It's one of my parenting highlights. It was the greatest thing ever.
After that, were you like, Hope, does this really piss? Does it really piss you off? Say another bad word, Hope. In front of your
hated it. It took a second for it to register and for her to realize the awful taste that was now in her mouth. But Jackie was just like, and just coated her tongue, and the bubble came up, and it was gorgeous. Loved it.
I don't think I ever got soaked.
Never got soaked? Me
I don't think
neither.
so.
That wasn't a thing that we did.
Yeah, no, that's some weak shit. No, we got spankings, and mom would try to arm herself. Mom would get a hanger sometimes, but that was mostly for like intimidation, like a plastic coat hanger. It was usually a hand. My dad's got big hands, and they were usually plenty. But if you really fucked up, you'd get the belt.
Yeah, the leather belt.
I hit my half sister in the head with a level one time. I cracked her head open, and I got the belt for that. But yeah, when Dad would spank you, there was gonna be some crying involved.
Right.
But I didn't get spanked all that often. Like maybe like once a month or something. Like I'd go over the line where a spanking was required, and a lot of times, like just taking something away from me was serious punishment enough. Like if you didn't let me go on my weekend paintball like trip, I was gonna cry anyway. That's fucking.
I would have so much rather have a spanking than be like, all right, 2 weeks, no Game Boy.
Right.
Like, oh, please just hit me.
Right.
Yeah,
Get over with.
that was awful.
We didn't. Yeah, I mean, again, covered. We didn't. You're like, I'd catch a spanking. I call it a beating. Like, I don't really recall. There was some spankings involved, but
that's abuse though.
Those
because
aren't the ones that I
it's like
remember.
There was no point with my mom or my dad that they were like hitting me out of anger. Like it was to correct me. Like when they said that this hurts me more than it hurts you, I always thought like fucking bullshit. But now being like an adult, even without kids, I'm like, oh man, that must be really fucking hard to do to your kid to try and discipline them. But at no point was like my dad or mom come in the room and be like, you did what? And like start wailing on me.
That's how it starts.
That's what happened to you.
Yeah.
That never happened.
Yeah. That's the difference between abuse and like punishment, right? Like discipline. Yeah. That's
abuse is discipline too, Kyle.
No,
it's punishment. I felt punished.
Extreme.
It's like conditioning.
I felt punished.
I didn't like it at all. Yeah.